Why are great employees leaving their jobs these days? Yes, we have layoffs, but people are also quitting their jobs at a crazy rate. In 2021, according to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, 47 million people in the US have quit their jobs, a trend that even has a name now, the Great Resignation. You may have heard of it, it's now part of our popular culture. Oh, and it's continuing. In June 2022 alone, 4.2 million people in the US have left their jobs, according to the same source, which I will leave a link to in the description. In fact, according to a study done by PwC, 1 in 5 workers globally is planning to quit their jobs in 2022. That's a fifth of the global workforce. So why are people leaving their jobs, especially with a pandemic still looming over us and all of this recession talk in the air? In this video, we're going to look into some recent studies to discover why. If we haven't met yet, hi, my name is Masha. I'm a career strategist helping you grow your career strategically by working smarter, not harder. So if that's something that you'd like to do, make sure you're subscribed to this YouTube channel and give this video a like if this is an interesting topic for you. Back to the question of why people leave their jobs. 2 recent studies will help us shed some light on this question, on this phenomena. And the first one that I want to look at is by McKinsey & Company that has surveyed over 13,000 people from 6 different countries. I will leave a link to it in the description. The survey took place earlier this year, and one of the questions that it has asked the participants was, what was your top reason for quitting your previous job? So now these are the findings, and the first and the most major reason for quitting was the lack of career development and advancement. People felt like they were not being challenged enough, they're not learning enough, and that they don't have as much growth opportunities within the organization, which could be another way of saying they wanted to get promoted, but they have not been promoted. So, this is an umbrella term for a lot of things. However, it all falls under the theme of wanting to grow their career. Now, the reason number 2, the second most popular reason why people have quit their job is the inadequate pay. People are very much aware of the fact that they need to be paid a higher rate, especially with a recession coming and all of that recession talk. There's a lot of conversation about how if your compensation has not increased by at least the same amount that the inflation, the same percentage amount that the inflation is at, you're essentially taking a pay cut. So people are very aware of that, and people are getting more and more resources, being able to research their market salary rate. I have a video on that. I will leave a link to it in the description and also over there. So if that's something that you are interested in, watch that video later. However, people are very much aware that they need to be compensated fairly. Reason number 3 is uncaring or uninspiring leaders. It's very interesting to see that it has made the top 3 list, and the lack of meaningful work is the next. People want to have leaders that they are motivated by, that they're inspired by, and that is something that a lot of companies can learn from in order to retain talent, in order to create an environment where people really enjoy the vision, really enjoy learning from their leader, and they're inspired from their leader. Now, the 4th reason is the lack of meaningful work. I think it's a sign that a lot of us are finding ourselves in a very privileged situation where we don't have to think about putting food on the table. So our level of compensation is at a point where we don't need to worry about the basic human needs. If we look at the Maslow pyramid of needs, our safety, our just general needs for food, sleep, shelter, all of that stuff is covered. So we are moving further up the pyramid, and we need meaningful work. We need fulfillment. We need it for our self-esteem, for transcendence, all of that stuff. It is a very privileged place to be because that means that our basic needs are covered, and more people are finding themselves in a place where they want to have that meaningful work. And finally, reason number 5, I only want to go through 5 different reasons. I will leave a link to the study in the description if you're interested to learn more. But reason number 5 is unsustainable work expectations. And I take it as work-life balance, the lack of work-life balance, and people burning out from the expectations that are being placed on them. Pretty self-explanatory, and a lot of us have experienced that. So those were the top 5 reasons for why people have left their previous company. Now let's move on to why people are considering to leave their job in the future, or right now in 2022. I've already talked about this study by PwC that has found that 1 in every 5 workers is considering to quit their job in 2022. Now, this same study by PwC, which was conducted in March and has data from surveying over 52,000 people from 44 different countries and territories, this is their findings. The number 1 consideration for leaving a job globally, well, in those 44 countries and territories, was the lack of adequate compensation. This is where compensation takes over the first reason for growth and development that we saw in the previous study. So lack of adequate compensation is at the very top. As you can see from this graph, researchers have color coordinated the different variables, and we have 4 different categories. We have compensation, we have meaning, then confidence and competence, and autonomy. And the next 3 top considerations for an employee when they're looking for a great place to work in is meaning. They're all meaning. They're all about finding your job fulfilling, being able to be yourself, which I think is all about dressing the way you want to be and truly be myself. And finally, feeling like the team cares about your well-being. And I think we can see some parallels with the top 5 reasons for quitting before. I can see that, I find my work fulfilling is just like reason number 4, the lack of meaningful work. That's why people have left, and unsustainable work environment expectations that plays along, that's paralleling, well, is that a verb? We can draw parallels from that with my team cares about my well-being. And finally, the 5th most important factor for people in their jobs is being able to feeling like they can be creative and innovative in their jobs, which I think goes along with growth and development, and also self-actualization and finding the work fulfilling. These are kind of slightly different variables, but they can also be in parallel. They can be grouped up in the same category kind of thing. What's interesting is that both of these studies are very much in line. They're aligned with your responses that you have shared with me on why you have left your previous job. As part of research for my previous video, which was on how to answer the question, why did you leave your previous job, which I will leave a link to in the description and up there if that's something that you're struggling with. But as part of the research for that video, I asked you, why did you leave your previous job? Because I wanted to see what scenarios I should address in that video, etc. But I got so many different responses, and I really appreciate them. They were amazing. I asked here in my YouTube channel's community tab, on my Instagram, on TikTok, and also on LinkedIn. An overwhelming amount of responses, and that's what inspired me to create this video, because clearly this was a topic that everybody was so passionate about. So I wanted to go further. And also my friend Jad has sent me the first study, the McKinsey study on the topic. So I was like, whoa, there's so much data on this, and we need to go into it and look into it. But what's interesting is that I saw the same themes and the same trends in your responses as in these studies. Lack of growth opportunities, inadequate pay, being overworked while being in a toxic environment. All of those themes also repeated themselves in your responses. I wasn't ranking them for myself, so I don't have an order for you, but clearly those are the main themes that companies should be addressing. And I really hope that all of you that have responded to me, and all of you who are thinking about quitting a job or who have quit a job recently and we just weren't able to connect on the topic, that you find yourself in a better environment, either already now, having quit, or that you will find the next amazing environment in the near future, and you will be much happier and much more fulfilled and satisfied with where you are professionally and personally. This is clearly an interesting topic, especially, being coined the Great Resignation, and a lot of social scientists are studying it. So we can really go down the rabbit hole of this whole situation. I will not do that in this video. I could, but I will not. However, if you are interested in going further down the rabbit hole, I will leave some resources in the description where you can read all about the different trends that social scientists have uncovered, like, and calling them the 5 Rs in the Great Resignation: retirement, relocation, reconsideration, reshuffling, and reluctance. Those are very granular. I think McKinsey and their study that is also linked in the description does a better job of summarizing them in 3 different trends. Well, not a better job of just making it more compact. So we have reshuffling, which is employees quitting but going to a different employer or changing industries. They're shuffling, meaning that some industries are disproportionately losing talent. Then we have reinventing, which is all about employees reinventing what work looks like for them, which can mean starting gig-based or project-based work, or finding part-time positions, or starting their own businesses, reinventing what work actually looks like as opposed to the traditional full-time 9 to 5 job kind of thing. And finally, our 3rd R in the McKinsey study is reassessing, which is all about people who have taken their time to reassess their priorities in life, whether it's their family, hobbies, interests, etc., and they have realized that their current career doesn't fit those priorities, and they have quit. They have quit their jobs because of life demands, like children taking care of sick parents or sick relative or anything like that, or their just priorities, different needs and goals and interests in life. If you find all of this stuff super interesting, I will leave some links where you can go into this rabbit hole in the description. So go ahead, scroll down, find those links in the description, and dive deeper into those studies and trends, etc. But if you find yourself in a position where you have recently left a job, or if you're looking for the next opportunity, or if you're considering leaving your job and thinking about, oh my God, how am I going to approach the question, why did you leave your previous job? I have a video on that. That got published last week, so go ahead and watch that. I will leave a link to it in the description and also over here in this corner. So go ahead and watch it after this video. It provides general tips on how to answer this question and how to answer this question from 7 different categories, some of which we have discussed today, that are kind of these general buckets that all of your responses have fit into. And in fact, you may have seen my update that I am currently going through interviewing and job search process myself. So I am compiling a list of behavioral questions that I'm preparing for interviews myself, and I will post a video on that, and I can go deeper into the different behavioral questions and the answers for them in other videos. So, if all of this information is interesting and relevant to you, make sure you're subscribed to this YouTube channel and give this video a like to tell the algorithm that you enjoy this content and to show more of this kind of content for you. Finally, if you do have any specific questions, if there are any specific behavioral questions that you would like me to dive deeper into, leave them in the comments below. I'm always listening here or in the YouTube community tab that you will find if you go on my channel and press on community in the little tabs. You know how it says like home, videos, playlists, community, all of that stuff. That's where you can find the community tab, so we can have a conversation there. Let me know what challenges you're facing right now, and I will do my best to address it with content. I think I've covered everything that I wanted to cover in this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Again, give it a like if you've enjoyed it. Leave me a comment with your thoughts. And we can also be friends on other social media. You can find me as Stereotype Breakers. Have a wonderful time in the day you're currently experiencing. Bye.